Welcome to the January 9th, 2017 water reading for Elements of Spirit. This is the reading for the element of water, which are the sun signs of Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. I am coming to the forefront today with this reading. Those of you who have been watching this know that I am a Scorpio, so I'm always very into these readings because they're also about me, to the water readings. But in this one, it's pretty funny because, the readings can be very esoteric and very intense and, very visual and magical and all of those things. What I got the message, I was like, what's the water telling us this week? And the water says, be nice. Now, simple, right? But going back to the ether readings, this is going to be a watery week. The beginning of the week is intense with lots more emotion that started building up over the last few days and that is going to continue to do so throughout the next few days. And the idea here is that you guys, we as water signs, might actually be kind of comfortable in the beginning of this week. The water feels nice, it's temperate, it's lovely. It's rising, but that's cool. We're fishy creatures, watery creatures, so we can handle the rising tides. But the thing about this is that it feels like our other elements of earth, air, and fire are not quite as comfortable in this territoire. And the idea here is that, we want to make sure that this doesn't trigger feelings of superiority and consequent snarkiness. What it really feels like to me, I love it because this gets me to be very honest too. All of these readings do, but it's hard for me to do the water readings without processing them a little bit. What it is it's that we might not like it that we're not having the hardest time. It might be challenging to honor that others are more uncomfortable than us at this moment. And that could make us a little snarky. It's just this feeling of hey, what about me? What about my struggles? What about my challenges? And that's that's how my inner voice sounds a lot of the time. Meaning that's what a waterlogged, emo kind of voice can sound like. What about me? What about me? I can't move. I'm stuck. I'm stagnant. As opposed to I'm earthy, stuck, and stagnant. Or fire rarely tends to get stuck and stagnant. It's much more because it's an active element, and air even faster and higher frequency. So it's the idea here is that feeling sorry for yourself because the beginning of this week is not that overwhelming. It's a little absurd, right? So the idea is, what can we do? That's lovely. Yeah, be nice. Be nice. Be kind. Be compassionate. There it is. And it moves right into the heart. Empathy, y'all. Empathic. Empathy. Use the first 3 days of this week, first 4 days of this week, even into Friday. So first 5 days of this week to understand, reflect, respond. It's okay to be porous this week. It's okay to take on others' feelings Monday through Friday. Just know that you're doing it. So if you feel snarky, if you feel nasty, if you feel bitchy, try to look around you at the stimuli that triggered that snark, that nastiness, that bitchiness, and try to understand where they're coming from. So I'm not, by no means am I encouraging you to take on other people's emotions. We kind of tend to do that anyway as water signs. It's empathy is very natural. But the idea here is that something goes down early in the week, the kind of discomfort at not being the one who's suffering the most, causes us to change and get a little snarkified. And the idea here is just when you feel that shift to try to retrace your steps for that which triggered the snark and try to find some understanding on the other side of that. Try to empathize, try to reflect, try to respond from that place of empathy and compassion. Yeah, it really does feel like Monday through Friday. There's something else on Thursday. No, it feels like Thursday you're like, oh wow, yeah, this empathy thing is either working, or like, oh wow, I haven't really been very empathic and therefore it's not working. And then Friday, going back to the ether reading, winds of change sweep in and sort of reorient yourself. So again, there's a lot of preparatoriness here, you guys. It's like, check yourself. I think that was in the ether reading too. Check yourself in the beginning of the week so that by the time you get to Friday, you're pretty smooth and supple and floating nicely and also working nicely because you're making choices to understand and be compassionate and reflect and respond. So it just feels like then whatever happens on Friday that sort of reorients you or shifts your focus, you're not waterlogged, you're not disoriented, and you're not dry, you're not nasty, not snarky. You've cultivated that compassion so that you can then keep your wits about you so that, great, thank you, ether reading, so that when we get to Saturday, Sunday, and you're taking practical steps to integrate and to integrate the insights that have come to you through the week, which have peaked and maybe even surprised you, twerked you, shifted you around on Friday. You have your energy. You're not stagnant. You're not dissipated. You're centered, and your heart is open. Okay, I mean, I gotta go with it, you guys. Sometimes my brain is like, is that the affirmation? And if I ask the question a couple times and I still get the affirmation, I'm like, yep, that's the affirmation. So, I am capable of understanding without absorbing. I am capable of understanding without absorbing. I am capable of understanding without absorbing. I'm capable of understanding without absorbing. So the idea is that normally it's very easy for a water sign to become permeable and to understand empathically through absorption. So in this case, the way that we're checking ourselves is to say, oh, I don't really want to understand, and I don't really want to absorb. So it's to remind ourselves that I am capable of understanding without absorbing. There's probably a more affirmative way of saying that, but I physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually cannot cultivate it right now, which to me means this is the affirmation. So again, please guys, let me know how these work for you through the week, how these readings are unfolding in your life. I am so grateful to you. Thank you, fellow water signs. I'll see you next week.